Hi, welcome into the keeping room. This is the pretty much everything you weren't ever going to do in a house room. This is going to be the place where Mary is going to spend a lot of her time. Mary is Hezekiah's wife and mother to 10 children. Yes, you heard me right. There are 10 children that live in this house. 7 of them are boys. This is a very loud house. Now, what you're noticing here on the table in front of you are some of the different objects that would have been used in this room. These represent everyday tasks, everyday dishes, and even some of the luxuries that we have in the Carolina backcountry. Now, this right here tends to catch my eye every time I come in. Angel, what am I looking at?
You're looking at a cup, obviously. That's a cup. It looks just like a cup that we have today. But it is not plastic, even if it feels like plastic. It is cow's horn. We know that Hezekiah and the folks here were raising cattle that have horns, and so they could use the horn material, which is keratin, to turn it into all sorts of different things. They're going to transform it into their cups, they're going to transform it into their spoons like this one, and they're going to make combs for their hair, all sorts of different things. This is a great use of recycling, of reusing a material. It's going to be really durable, which is really important when you have 7 boys.
Now, how did they get from something that looks like this right here, this cow's horn, to something that looks like either this cup or this spoon?
Sure. So you'd clip the cow's horn off. It's just like clipping your fingernails. It's not going to hurt the cow. And then you'd put it in boiling hot water. Obviously, this is done outside. It smells really, really bad. Which is also another good reason to do it outside. But once it becomes, when you put it in that water, it becomes really soft and malleable, kind of like Play-Doh. And then you can roll it out, you can shape it, you can cut it, trim it, whatever you need to do in order to turn it into whatever you're trying to make.
Now I'm noticing right here on this, I've got that nice thin covering here. I'm noticing A's, A through G, the alphabet, some numbers. I've got something very easily recognizable on the other side. I think I might be looking at Colonial Google here.
You are. That is Colonial Google. So that's basically called a horn book. Called that because this piece right here is also cow's horn. And this is what children are going to use to learn to read. They have the alphabet, they have the numbers, and they have their first reading passage, which in this instance, because the Alexanders are a Presbyterian family, it's going to be a prayer. School and Sunday school are basically the same thing. And all of that education is likely happening in this room, taught by Mary, taught by one of the older siblings. All of the Alexander children learned to read, which was pretty exceptional during that time period. And most of that probably happened in the home.
Okay, so eventually you get to have your own opinions, but to start out with, you got mom's opinions.
Correct, yes.
Now I'm noticing this right here. This is our primer or our primer. We've got lots of teeny tiny text and lots of repetition here. Again, our lessons typically from the Bible and biblical lessons here. I've said every once in a while you got a nice little picture here.
Yeah.
Now, instrument of dental torture.
No,
Okay.
not a torture device. These are actually sugar nippers. So sugar is one of those luxury items that a family like the Alexanders could have afforded. Not everyone here in Mecklenburg County can do that, but we know the Alexanders could have. They're a very wealthy family. It's packaged in cones like this, and it's going to be dark brown. It's going to be really sticky, and it's going to be really hard. It's not like a powdery, kind of like our sugar that we see today. So when you get your sugar, you don't want to touch it with your hands because then your hands are going to be really sticky. So you take your sugar nippers, which are basically these tools. So something that a blacksmith like Hezekiah is going to make for you. And you can break off a piece of your sugar with your sugar nippers, put it into your teacup, whatever you need to do. Now sugar is an imported good. It is very difficult to process in the Caribbean, in Central America, so it's going to take a long time to get here, which makes it expensive. This is not kept out on a table like we have it here. This is kept in a locked trunk that Mary Alexander has the keys to. She's jingling all the time. She carries a lot of keys. And this is going to be brought out for special occasions only. Children, everyday kind of sugar is not really a thing.
Honey instead. Honey's a great sweetener to use. Now, who else is going to be spending time in this room? We know Mary's going to be here. We've got a table here that's going to have some spaces for people to sit, some dishware on the table, but how does the food get onto the table?
So all of the food that would be served here would be actually made by an enslaved person. So the Alexanders were slaveholders. We know one of the women who was enslaved here was Bet. She would have been their cook. And so she's going to be cooking out in the kitchen, preparing dishes, preserving foods, working with her daughter, Jenny, in there, as well as other enslaved children. And she's going to be bringing the food for the Alexanders into this room. She's going to serve it on the table, make sure that fire stays warm, going in and out, back and forth. But this is not where she eats. This is just where she serves the food to the Alexanders.
Now, the types of food that are going to be on a table like this, when we think of Southern food today, we think of things like black-eyed peas, we think of collard greens, we think of things like watermelon, peanuts, all of these different items, even fried chicken.
Corn.
Corn, of
Lots
course.
of corn.
Lots of corn. Well, a lot of these items are actually not just Southern food, they're African food. And they're things that Bet and her daughter Jenny are going to bring here to this property. And so the reason that we have all of these amazing foods today is because people like Bet and Jenny made them, preserved them, brought them here as a way of holding on to their culture. So what we're looking at in the backcountry is really a collection of a lot of different people, some who chose to come here, some who did not, but who are creating this new culture that we think of as Charlotte.